You son of a bitch.
Mhm.
All right, you ready? And we're pretty far behind, actually. All right, let's do this.
Well, it's just me waiting, so I think we're safe. There we go.
We should be good.
Cool.
And we're live.
I don't think we're live.
Welcome to a brand new episode. What's with the G now? What's that now?
Gnaw? It's how you spell gnaw, like the word gnaw.
Oh, gNAW.
Oh, oh, gNAW. That's helpful. gNAW. News analysis of the week. I'm your host Jay Fry, and with me is Sean. How's it going, Sean?
Hey, it's going quite well.
Yeah, and Garrick.
I'm exhausted.
That works.
Mm-hmm.
What are you exhausted from?
Just this headache and frustration of trying to replace stolen items.
Well, here you there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't have to replace stolen items, but I had a date tonight, and it went pretty well. Besides, for her phone kept ringing because her boyfriend was calling. So that put a smidge of a damper on it.
That is quite a shame.
Yeah. Now, I had two options. Option one was to just call the date off. And option two was to see if she had 3 other boyfriends to get the group thing going. And I didn't either. I just the date ended on time, and I went home to cry. She's like, "We're over." I just haven't told him yet, and I was like, "I'm not really. If that's how you treat your men, I don't think I want to be one of those men." I'm Googling who the Dade County rep is, because I don't think we ever really found out.
Isn't it Sheila Jackson?
Like, I know Debbie Wasserman. Well, that's who I'm looking for. Who was representative of Miami-Dade County?
That's
And
crinkly ramen-haired. What's her name?
Well, she's part of Broward County, but it's split kind of weirdly, and it's not all of Broward County. But yeah, all right. So there's
Let's Google Florida
yeah.
congressional districts.
So it's the 26th district, and it is Debbie McCarcel Powell. Holy shit, the demographics. 17% white, 11% black, 1% Asian, 69.95% Hispanic.
Yeah, but I mean
That's quite the
you got to be careful with South Florida and the Hispanic moniker because most of that is Cuban.
yeah, that's still
which is
panicked.
Not like Hispanic in the rest of the country.
Yeah, well, yeah.
They typically
vote
vote Republican. Yeah, they typically vote Republican.
Mm-hmm.
Ted Deutsch? Is that who?
I was just yelling at the computer like, no, it's not Broward County. It's the next county over. It's Dade, Miami-Dade. It's one left. They'd
a whole bunch of people.
understandable. People not Yeah. Man, we got a lot of Florida stories this week.
We just have to admit, Florida is not safe.
When was it ever safe?
Well, it's one of the weird states though, because it's not super liberal. Like, you've got the gun laws. There is no, aside from schools, there's no gun-free zones in Florida. You know, it's not like a California, which is not a free state. Florida's a pretty free state. They accept reciprocity from the rest of the states, except New York and Illinois and California. Like, it's got its pluses and its minuses, and just a weird state. But I think really weird people enjoy beachfront property. Yeah, you got all of California, and then Florida's friggin' peninsula of beachfront property and crazies.
There is an undue amount of Florida man stories. I will agree with that.
Man, that one where with the guy who what's your favorite Florida man story? You can think of it real quick.
The bath salts one.
Which one?
The guy where he was high on bath salts and ate another guy's face. Like,
Gary, you got one?
Oh, sorry.
You got a favorite Florida man story?
A favorite Florida man story? Oh,
Yeah.
What was the one where the guy got stole the plane? Was that a Florida story?
The Barefoot Bandit?
Yeah, that was a good one. And
No, that was in Florida.
Okay, and well, I think this one was in Tennessee though. The one that snuck a Kimber up a cooch.
Yeah, that was the Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
Mine was the guy who was high on PCP, who turned himself into the police for killing his best friend, who was imaginary.
That was pretty funny.
And the other was the PCP addict who rushed into a burning house to save a man, and the house was not burning. And he beat the shit out of the homeowner and dragged him out of the house because he was resisting being saved from a house that wasn't on fire.
He didn't know that though, to be fair.
Yeah, those are two of my favorite Florida men.
What is the name of the city on the west coast of Canada? The big one. Is it Vancouver or is it another one?
West Coast of Canada?
Mm-hmm.
Vancouver's kind of touching Washington State. I don't know what you're talking about. But so which Florida story do we want to start with?
well, let's do Pensacola because it seems to be the fastest and easiest one. I mean, it's pretty cut and dried.
Yeah. I think I think as of September 12th, 2001, it should have been pretty sketchy if any Saudis wanted to learn to fly in the state of Florida. And you said Arizona too? There was...
Yeah, the 9/11 guys trained out here. And this is where they raised the flag where they're like, yeah, we just need to learn how to fly. We don't need to learn how to land. And the trainer was like, that's unusual.
Yeah, so Trump, unlike his predecessor, had no problem calling a spade and instantly jumping to terrorism. They had a suspected clash with the instructor, but the FBI is conducting a terror investigation into the shooting at the Naval Air Station, Pensacola, and new information arises about the gunman's training at the facility. Blah blah blah.
So, yeah, literally from one end to the other of that state, there's been shootings this week.
Mm-hmm. Second Lieutenant Mohammed El-Shimrani, Saudi trainee, filed a formal complaint earlier this year against one of his instructors, who left him infuriated in class by tagging him with a derogatory nickname. Guess what the derogatory nickname was?
Mohammed?
Porn stash.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's the derogatory nickname. And have you ever seen Saudis? They have some stashy of the porn variety.
They are furry folk.
Hairsuit individuals.
They make Robin Williams look like powder.
Oh, that's an eclectic visual there. God, I did love Powder, man. I was so bummed to find out who wrote Powder.
I don't know who wrote Powder. Do I care?
You don't want to know. He's a child molester.
Oh, yeah, lovely.
I think it's Victor Silva was his name. He did the Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, okay.
Both the two decent ones and the really shitty one. What really bugs me about this shooting is this Saudi national who was just visiting for flight training, 21 years old, went and bought a brand new Glock.
How did he pass a background check?
Yeah. Exactly. But he legally purchased it. Somehow. Now, here's the thing. It's a $650 gun. Not a big deal. But what Matt said, it was 15 rounds, and it irked me. It is a 17-round gun. The 45 is a 19X. That is a full-size frame with a Glock 17 frame on a Glock 19 slide. So it's a shorter barrel, but it's full-size grip. So either it was the basic extended of 20-round magazines or 33-round fun clips. But there's a picture of the guy, and he absolutely has a porn stash.
Yeah, well, they only get mad when it's true.
I can't. Yeah. So Matt, is it Gatz? He's been all over the news this week.
Matt Gaetz.
He's the one that Onion did the article about, where you're talking about him firing rounds in the air, and Matt just talked about his gun. He's like, that's or not the gun, the wedding ring on his hand. He's like, what's up with that wedding ring? But yeah, that's his district. And Matt Gaetz says he's spoken to the Saudi ambassador, and The thing about the Saudis is they are incredibly wealthy. Saudi Arabia is an oil-rich company, and they have all the Saudi princes and the king and everything. They very much want to control the religion in that area of the world. And how they handle their terrorists, because there are a plethora of Saudi terrorists, they finance them. They give them money and send them to other countries to fight the jihadi war or the war on infidels or however they want to describe it. So Saudi Arabia is a huge funder of terrorism.
So
but we get our oil from there.
They export terrorism as well as oil.
Yeah. Both of which we pay for.
Yeah.
Thank you, CIA.
Good time.
Now, I don't have any actual body count or anything. Do you have that?
I don't. I just know that was one of those ones that they're like, the news is like, oh, there's a shooting at the naval base in Pensacola. This is going to be great. And then they found out it was actually a Saudi guy, and the news suddenly dried up, like, instantly. So that was fun. Let's see if I can find it.
Ensign Joshua Caleb Watson, 23, from Coffee, Alabama. Airman Mohammed Salam Hotman, 19, from St. Petersburg, Florida. And Airman Apprentice Cameron Scott Waters died in the shooting at the Navy base. So possibly one Muslim and two white boys? It's not a very good tally.
Oh, even CNN is reporting that the FBI presumes Pensacola base attack was an act of terror. That's dangerously close to CNN actually being critical of a Muslim terrorist.
A person briefed by the U.S. investigation said on Saturday that the gunman played videos of mass shootings during dinner with other Saudi aviation students during the week before the killings. One of these students was detained at the scene of the attack after apparently taking videos on a phone, the person said. A Twitter account identified by the SITE Intelligence Group, an organization that tracks militant groups as belonging to Al Harshamur, also posted photos containing text that is addressed to the American people that blames America for crimes not only against Muslims, but also humanity. One or the other, either Muslims or humans, you can't be both.
That's terrible, and I would denounce that, except that I don't.
This is garbage. Saudi government.
CNN. Okay, here, let me read this. The FBI on Sunday said agents collected surveillance videos and videos taken by a bystander as part of the investigation. The bystander videos were taken after the attack had begun and the first responders had arrived. FBI Public Affairs Officer Amanda Wolford said in a news release, investigators have interviewed the bystander and are analyzing the videos for clues, she said. I don't know why they said that twice, but okay. At least one Saudi national filmed the shooting, according to the U.S. Defense Secretary Mark Esper. Friends of al-Shamrani were detained after the killing. Esper said that one or two of those friends recorded the attack. Esper told Fox News Sunday that it was unclear whether they were filming it before it began or it was something... God damn pop-ups. Go away.
Yeah, I got the New York Times was like, you want to subscribe?
Yeah. Esper told Fox News Sunday that it was unclear whether they were filming it before it began or it was something that where they picked up their phones and filmed it once they saw it unfolding. A senior law enforcement official told CNN on Sunday that one Saudi national who captured the aftermath of the attacks was considered a bystander. The source said investigators do not believe this person is involved in the attack and was far away from the scene when he captured the emergency response after the incident. Separate law enforcement official familiar with ongoing investigations said there is currently no indication of anything nefarious regarding the individual who recorded the attack at the scene. The official says all witnesses in the incident are being interviewed. To me, that sounds like we've got more than circumstantial evidence that the Saudi national, started filming it before it started.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, guy has porn stash.
You got a picture? Yeah.
I do here.
Saudi Arabia's government has acted to curb homegrown radicalism since the September 11, 2001 attacks, in which 15 of the 19 airline hijackers were Saudi citizens. The government has placed thousands of prisoners in de-radicalization programs and fired thousands of preachers for refusing to denounce extremism. Really? Preachers? Is this the one time that you use the American word for it? Like all those undefined Asians? Senator Cory Booker, speaking on ABC on Sunday, pointed to the Yemen conflict and the killing of that frickin' journalist from in the Saudi Arabian embassy. This is a relationship that has serious problems, says Mr. Booker, who is among the Democrat candidates for president. Really, is he? Because I read there were no black people left.
What does that tell you? Booker's not black.
Well, I don't think he's going to be in the debate. I don't think he has enough numbers for that. There's
your perp.
You go and have fun. That's. I'm still seeing Bugs Bunny so far.
Yeah, well, it depends on how long the stream is delayed. Let's see. That's up now.
For some reason, mine doesn't play. Like, I can't watch live. I don't think he's going to be in the debate. There he is. That's a porn stash. If yeah, that's just a porn stash.
So the question is
you still conscious, Eric?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Will this guy be deported, or will he actually stand trial in the U.S.? My guess is the Saudis are going to pull diplomatic immunity and pull him out somehow.
That's not how diplomatic immunity works. You have to have that beforehand.
Right, but they're gonna pull some shenanigans and say that no, he's ours and needs to be handled on our end, and they're gonna bring him back, feed him a really good meal, and then honor kill him. They'll be like, "Good job there, Sport Rock," and then treat him like a king for a day, and then he'll just end up as worm food somewhere else just because they don't need the problem.
Yeah, I mean, he will be killed. There's no doubt about that. Whether or not it's in a Saudi court-martial or an American murder trial, it's going to happen. And because we kiss Saudi ass, he'll probably be home in a week.
Well,
and then dead the next.
I mean, I'm pretty sure that Donald Trump doesn't exactly kiss Saudi ass like everybody else has over the last 30 years. Not saying he doesn't kiss their ass. I'm just saying he doesn't do it like everybody else did.
I mean, the one good thing that might come from this is Trump, who he does love the troops, might end up reinstituting normal gun policies on bases. So that could be a thing.
Yeah. I'd still want to know why we're selling guns to non-American citizens. That should be the first background check step. Are you an American? No. Sorry, I can't sell you a gun. You don't have a right to bear arms.
Yeah. Yeah. like we have this Constitution. It's for the American people.
You are not subject to the laws of this land, nor are you subject to its innate freedoms. I mean, I disagree with that fundamentally, but that would be the argument I would use.
Look, just go back to Saudi Arabia. I'm sure we've gifted enough M16s for you to have one free of charge. I'm sure we provide most of your defense. So M16 on us. Just go back home first. They might be giving M4s away now. We're probably out of M16s.
All right. So what else we got to say about that one? Anything?
I didn't say anything. So
yeah. Just as an aside, because fuck you, Megan, Rapaho. The U.S. Soccer, they passed a policy that the national team that plays for U.S. The players will stand for the anthem. So, sports person of the year will no longer be kneeling while bitching about Trump.
Good. That's long overdue.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about Miami.
Oh my god, man. Go ahead. You can take this one. I'll just hit my head against my table.
Yeah, it's just another Florida story, the other end of the state. Jewelry heist. Where the
Was it really?
That's how it started. Started as a jewelry heist. And then they hijacked a UPS truck. Drove it around a good segment of North Miami, and then the thin blue line showed up and showed everybody in the world how not to conduct gun safety.
I kind of like. There's so many poor choices made here
by multiple.
It's hard
people.
to pick one out.
I know, by multiple people.
Well, what's the thought process behind the grabbing the UPS truck? Was it making a jewelry delivery, maybe?
It must have been right there in the area, yeah.
I mean, was this like the same thing, like the Amazon jewels to the store, maybe? And the UPS was the delivery driver? Like, I mean, I guess if you've hit the alarm and you instantly need to get out of there, a UPS truck with its door already open is gonna be the fastest and easiest getaway. But then you're in a goddamn UPS truck. Now, granted, a UPS truck is heavier than any patrol vehicle. The exception of, maybe the armored or the big utility vans. So you won't be getting spun out, but yeah, spike strips are going to be a big issue for you, and so is speed, and so is the ability to lose your. What the fuck? So many poor choices. Did they even get jewels? Do we know if it was actually robbed or if it was just an attempt? We don't have that yet.
I think they did. I think they got something. Hang on. Let me go look at this one.
I just cannot believe the poor choices that were made on every. It's TV. Is what it is. Jewelry heist or TV bullshit. You can't cut diamonds. They're all micro encoded with serial numbers. It's been done like that for 20 years because of the blood diamonds coming out of South Africa. If it's a cut diamond, it's got a US UB.
The robbers held up a jewelry store on Thursday before commandeering a UPS truck and holding its driver hostage in Coral Gables.
All right. Basically, every diamond, every jewel of value comes with its own social security number. SB SIB. Anyway, it's an indicator number. So you're literally, it's like robbing a bank for money and then selling the $100 bills for $5 a piece. That's what a jewelry heist is. Unless you're fucking Doc Brown needing diamonds for your something from the future to the past making. Jewelry stores are not a thing to rob. It's just, unless it's like an inside job and there can be no evidence. Well, obviously nothing happened, right? So that's not what happened here. But jewelry stores are a very poor choice of places to rob. You almost have better conversion stealing gas from a gas station. So that's a poor decision on the robbers' parts. And then Florida stepped in to make them look better and proceeded to fuck up tactically on every goddamn level imaginable. They allowed this vehicle to get into crowded areas, which, I mean, isn't. At what point were you not stopping him because the thought, the possibility of loss of life, to allowing it to come to a head in which actual lives were taken? Hostage shot by police. Bystanders shot by police. Hostage takers also shot by police. Everything was shot by police. I can't believe it. It's just so damn ridiculous.
Well, not only that, for as much as officers want to tout officer safety is the reason that they get to shoot everybody, they didn't even practice officer safety amongst themselves. They had their own guys in lines of fire for crossfire, with no line of sight to each other, because the UPS truck is a big brown box. You had guys on either side of this thing shooting into it both ways. Just the worst, the worst possible decision making by the officers.
Mm-hmm. It's TV. It's Bad Boys meets freaking Lethal Weapon.
Pretty much.
This stuff doesn't happen in real life. It's like one of my favorite scenes in Face Off is when Nicolas Cage and John Travolta are pointing guns basically at themselves because there's a mirror, and I don't know why there would be a mirror that's two-sided, both facing outward, but that's like the only kind of really guns drawn thing you can do, because if you have your gun on somebody else, they can't be allowed to pull their gun to point at you. Yeah, it's drama and it's increases the tension, but you can't let that person pull their gun because they could kill you. This is Hollywood bullshit. It's like the Hans shooting first. Yeah, there's a reason for that, because you're at a disadvantage. The gun's already pointed at you. Jesus Christ.
Speaking of which, they actually fixed that on Friday in The Mandalorian. Because, spoiler alert, in the most recent episode of The Mandalorian goes back to Tatooine. Goes back to Mos Eisley and goes into the cantina. The band is not playing, so it's definitely underwhelming. And one of the characters is sitting at the booth in which Han shot Greedo. There is no blaster bolt or burn mark on the wall behind him, meaning that they fixed it. Han shot first.
He didn't fire after?
Nope, that's just George Lucas make-believe bullshit. Han shot first.
Nice. I was talking with Josh the other day about how much of an oversight it would be if it was like the Baby Yoda was the clone of Baby Yoda.
Oh, I'm pretty sure we're going to find out that that's it's Yoda reborn. That's going to be the big reveal at the end of the season.
Yeah, but it would hurt me so much as a screenwriter.
That would be
to have like. Well, no. It's because it's been called that way because Yoda really doesn't have a species name, so it's always been referred to as Yoda's species. So everyone has called him Baby Yoda. So to think like how brilliant it would be to bring back a character like Yoda, and like how much of a shock that would be to everybody, and then just the entire time to have them saying Baby Yoda, and like no one being surprised when it turns out to be Yoda. They're like, oh, I thought this was going to be more of a surprise. Who would have guessed that everybody called it? It'd be like Snake actually being evil. He was such a dick. One of the biggest missteps was multiple agencies involved. 2 county sheriff's deputies, as well as local city police, was 5 agencies total. Literally no one was communicating with each other. Yeah, that's a big problem.
Everybody wanted to be the fucking hero.
Yeah. The CIA was initially put together just to take the other agencies that we had available to us and collate them into basically a Reader's Digest for the president. It was taking the Department of Naval Intelligence.
That was the NSA.
The
CIA
OSS
was always separate.
No. It was their job to combine all the disparate intelligence, like signals intelligence and the Office of Strategic Sciences, like all these other agencies that we had, and take it and put like everything they have on Saudi Arabia gets collated and filed together. Everything that is on Russia, collated, filed together. Taken from pieces. Instead of having to read 17 different briefings, it would be a Reader's Digest, and everything that was in agreement was put together, and anything that was in a disagreement was footnoted and whatnot. That's why it was called the Central Intelligence Agency. It would be the intelligence centralized, like a Reader's Digest, instead of having to read multiple reports, basically all covering the same thing from your various groups. We should have learned from that. Agencies need to better work within each other, especially neighboring agencies.
Well, that's what the whole 9/11 thing was about, too, and why we now have yet another layer of that nonsense with Homeland Security.
Welcome, Homeland Security. And no one shares shit with Homeland Security, even though they're all under its umbrella now.
Because they're a bunch of fucking morons. Yeah, you don't want to. It changes nothing. It just adds layers. That's all it does. There's no change.
Boys clubs.
Yeah. DC needs an enema.
That's why I elected a guy who's famous for firing people.
Pretty much.
Damn, man, this is the poorest decision making What?
Just to go back to the cop thing real quick, I know I didn't get to really chime in, but I was talking with Matt about it earlier, and do you think it's something like not group think, but like a group mentality when panic ensues, everything just goes to shit? I think that's what it was. Somebody started, everybody else just joined in.
When something stressful happens, you revert to your most practiced level of training. I'm not one of these fans of slap the bolt release because you lose fine motor skills. That's not true. Fighter pilots can do all sorts of insane things in their cockpit under not only incredible stress, but actual G's of pressure. You know, I don't believe for a second that you can't train yourself through fine motor skills. And I personally have done new jobs. Like, for instance, I worked at Taco Bell. And one of my first days at Taco Bell, I was the meat guy, which basically scooped meat and put it onto whatever version of a shell there was. And that night, my freaking arm and shoulder kept spasming to reflect me scooping up meat and putting it in the whatever version of tortilla, because everything at Taco Bell is some version of meat, then lettuce, tomato, sour cream, and cheese. But that was just one of the scenarios in which muscle memory fucking works. If you practice properly and you train for situations, you will fall back to your training. There's the actual case for that is police officers who've had to shoot people they've disarmed because they trained to disarm somebody, and their first step was getting out of the way of the gun while pushing it in a safe direction. Second step was grabbing the gun. Third step was breaking the grip of the gun. And fourth step was pointing the gun at the person after retrieving it and maintaining control of it. What they didn't realize in their muscle memory step is because they would do this drill 20 or 30 times in a row, is they had an additional memorized muscle step. And that was grabbing the gun by the barrel and handing it back to the person that they'd just taken it from. And you can Google it in training. This has happened multiple times where a cop disarms somebody who had a gun drawn on them and gives the gun back to them, and they have to pull their own sidearm and shoot the guy because they didn't realize what they were doing. That was their level of training. And since that time, those training drills have now gone to 1-1s. First, the person gets disarmed, and then you disarm that person, and it goes back and forth between you two. Instead of handing the gun over, they have to take the gun from you, and it goes back and forth. So you will fall back to your most ingrained level of training. It's something most instructors preach about. Did that make sense, or did I not explain that well enough?
No, you explained it just fine. I don't disagree. No disagreement.
I concur.
Mm-hmm. Did you guys hear about the new fourth malfunction that they have?
No.
There's the stovetop, the failure to feed, the failure to eject, and now there's a new malfunction. Because of jackass tactical instructors.
What's that?
In your AR, what you're supposed to do is turn the gun towards the ground and rack the charging handle and shake the gun for the round to fall out. Well, because people now have this whole workspace thing where they tilt the gun up so they can see inside the ejection port, and rack the charging handle back, there is now a slight, not a very real possibility, but a slight possibility, 1 in 100,000 or whatever, that the loose round will get up above the charging handle or into the charging handle and ride between the charging handle and the bolt carrier group in the chamber of the where the gas piston rides in, to cause a double feed and a failure to feed because it's double fed inside the ejection port, that whole area. And that's all just because of stupidity from people being poorly trained. Gravity's your friend. Rack your slide with the ejection port facing down, no matter if you're right or left-handed. That's ridiculous. In other stories, Juice WRLD died.
Who
the fuck is that?
Who, you might ask? And you'd be right to ask that question.
Did you guys hear that Beetlejuice is getting a sequel?
No, but I know Ghostbusters is getting a sequel. Another sequel.
You saw that today?
Yeah, the kids version.
It's not really a kids version.
Well,
yeah.
It's. I mean, come on. What else do you want to call it?
Good.
Kids version would be Goosebumps.
Yeah, I mean it stars the one kid from Stranger Things, and it's got a more juvenile theme than the first two, which are the only two that exist because the other one doesn't actually exist.
Correct.
So it looks good. It looks like it's going to be a quality movie.
I don't know. I got ruined by the string of just shitty movies over the years, so I have little to no expectations, really.
Well, I mean, if you think about like how fucked up the original was, one of the guys got a blowjob.
It was.
Dan Aykroyd got a blowjob from a ghost, and Sigourney Weaver hooked up with discount Rick Moranis while they were both possessed.
Not discount.
That's some
Rick
pretty
Moranis.
fucked up.
That was actual Rick Moranis.
I meant to. What the? Oh, that was Rick Moranis. What the fuck was I thinking?
No idea.
Yeah.
That was actually Rick Moranis.
Lucky dog.
What the hell was I thinking of?
And Sigourney Weaver back when she was still at her peak hotness.
Oh God, she was good looking. Yeah.
She still is, honestly. For her age, she is still an outstandingly good-looking woman.
But so there were some pretty fucked up things that happened in the original Ghostbuster. Not Clown World stuff like Melissa McCarthy, who just turned a character into an absolute cartoon, bouncing off of walls and whatnot. Like shit that would kill somebody was happening to her on a regular basis. I didn't find that remotely amusing.
Yeah, she's just the female version of Kevin James anyway.
Yeah. Kevin James also would die in half his movies. Oh my God. I was almost in tears in Grown Ups 2 when he inflated that raft.
And it pushed him across the island into the... Yeah.
Oh my God, that was so funny. I mean, completely unrealistic, but damn, that was funny. I mean, you're not expecting much from those movies, but Ghostbusters, pretty fucked up movie. Like, they want to call it male-centric. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of creepy, though. But any movie where you end up getting taken over by a ghost has got to be emotionally scarring in like a real world situation.
There is no Dana. There is only Zool.
Yeah. someone asks if you're a god, you say yes.
I haven't seen him in too many acting movies lately.
Who?
Ernie Hudson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you should open your fucking eyes.
He doesn't.
Jeez.
He doesn't get a whole lot of work. I mean, it's not like he's starved for work, but he's just not in anything that's really big.
Mm.
He really never was.
Well, he
But-
was literally a
but
replacement
Hudson-
for Eddie Murphy. Okay, let's not fake the funk. He was a last minute choice because Eddie Murphy wasn't going to do the movie.
Yeah, but Ernie Hudson, he has got a career.
Yes, he's just not a. He's
In
just not
fact,
a
he's probably got
starring.
the biggest career.
Biggest career.
Like
of
if you
what?
look up Ernie Hudson, out of any of the actors,
No, Bill Murray exists, dude.
Bill Murray exists and does like 3 things every 5 years. But
And Dan Aykroyd.
aside,
Dan Aykroyd
Yes.
has no filter, so Dan Aykroyd does absolute crap.
but still not a lot of it.
Yeah.
Ernie Hudson has like 250 credits. You know, he was in The Arrow, that TV show that just came out. Family Business, Ballers, Blue Bloods, the Lethal Weapon TV show. 1, 2, Spider-Man, Survivor's Remorse, Twin Peaks. He was Uncle Bill in the last Ghostbusters. He was one of the few cameos. God's Not Dead 2. Spaceman, sorry.
I was going to say they had a sequel to Space Jam. Really?
Yeah, I mean, the guy does everything. He was in The Crow.
Who was a freaking basketball player from Cleveland?
Yeah.
LeBron James.
Oh.
Yeah.
Didn't they remake Space Jam with him?
Mm-mm.
They're remaking it.
Oh.
Yeah, it's gonna be terrible.
But like if you compare him to Dan Aykroyd, who has more movies and whatnot, he's only been in 105 things. Versus Ernie Hudson's 243. Or Bill Murray, who we want to call more famous. Bill
Is
Murray's
absolutely
got
more famous.
Yeah.
94.
Sorry, give it to him.
Yeah, but Ernie Hudson is arguably working way more than twice as much. Bill Murray's only got 94 credits. And I don't know how he's going to be in the second Double Tap or the second Zombieland Double Tap. That fool is dead. When you get shot to death in the original and become a zombie and later get put down, you don't get to come back. But Bill Murray's got 94 credits. Dan Aykroyd's got 105. Ernie Hudson has 243.
I guess when you're Dan Aykroyd or Bill Murray, you can't take the bit parts that Ernie Hudson takes. I mean, you could, but you don't. Because you're just too recognizable that they expect you to be a star. Like even Bill Murray's bit in Zombieland is uncharacteristic of the characters Bill Murray plays.
Well, Tim Curry did a two-part guest appearance on Criminal Minds, where he played a two-parter, a serial killer, and that was awesome. I think it would be pretty awesome to have random appearances from what are considered, beloved talents. Do you remember the movie Cursed? It was like it wasn't a really well known werewolf movie with Wednesday Addams, Christina Ricci.
No.
They started this red herring subplot of casting somebody particularly famous to make you think they were more important than they were, and they turned out not to be. And that was because he was the character who played Lex Luthor on Smallville. He was really popular on Smallville, Michael Rosenbaum or whatever. But he hadn't made it into movies yet. And this was his first step into movies. He really hasn't gone much into movies since then. He's done movies, but nothing particularly good. And I think it'd be really great to see, Dan Aykroyd in a supporting role, or something more like My Girl, where he played Anna Klumsky's dad. They're at the age now where they could just be a beloved grandfather to a teenage character. But they don't do that because they're a bit pretentious. Speaking of beloved grandfathers, look, Fat, we have to talk about this.
Just how thin of a skin does Joe Biden have when he can't take a Democratic voter who mildly disagrees with him, gives him the benefit of the doubt and says, hey, can you just explain what was up with your son? And he goes off the handle at him. I mean, come on.
I disagree. And I challenge you to push-ups.
Or running or whatever you want, man. Let's go.
It was the one time he could call the guy a liar for saying what he said, because the guy was wrong. He had said that he secured the spot in, I forget the name of the company, Ukrainian oil fucking fake ass job that pays $1 million a year.
Burisma.
That's not true. Burisma holding company. Thank you. That is not true. What the guy said was wrong, and that was his chance to pounce on it. Because Joe Biden technically had nothing to do with getting his son hired into Burisma Holding Company.
Not directly.
Hunter. Exactly.
He absolutely had something to do with it, because if he wasn't the vice president, the offer would have never been extended to Hunter Biden. So you're right. Did he actually have to do any work?
Yes, but he's not the one who secured it.
Correct.
Because the guy accused him of securing a comfy job for his son, which is not true. The only reason his son was hired is because his father was the vice president, but not his father got him the job because he was, it was worded the only way possible for Joe Biden to come out and say, you're a liar. Mm-hmm. That's not true. It's the only way.
Well, that's a very good point.
Because
and that's the distinction. Well, and it's kind of like Nancy Pelosi's flying off the handle when the person accuses her of hating Trump. It's like, you guys get overly and irrationally angry about shit that's might not be 100% on point, but is more true than not. And why the disproportionate anger responses for those things? Is it because you finally got called out for your bullshit? I have to believe
no one
it.
on this planet thought there was a mile-high stack of fucking Big Macs. It's a phrase used. We didn't think there was a mile of Big Macs at this meeting. But you know what? 55 goddamn Big Macs for 22 people is an insane amount of Big Macs. As well as 30 goddamn filet of fish, 40 double cheeseburgers, and 6 other restaurants worth of food. It was an insane amount. Shut up. Christy Swanson said somebody had Trump derangement syndrome, and they replied, "You have Trump derangement syndrome." And they called Trump a potty mouth or a pouty mouth liar. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. You're a fruity pig.
Do you remember back in early 2017 when Trump came out and said, "Oh yeah, it looks like they had Trump Tower bugged. They bugged my phone lines," and everybody went apeshit.
Wired. It was wired.
Yeah. This is a lie. This is unsubstantiated. This is not true. He's crazy. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Here we are 2.5 years later, and yeah, it absolutely was fucking true.
Yeah, it's Alex Jones level bullshit. But I got one better. The week before the election, Obama said, "There's no election tampering. You're just losing." 10 days later, Obama came out and said there was Russian collusion. Like, holy shit, man. Like, last week you said there's no possible way to mess with the election. And then you had to deal with the results of the election.
Well, and again,
the fucking guy won.
Obama was right when he said that, because he is right. Yes, Russia and the Ukraine and several other countries, including Israel and China, and even Great Britain for that matter, interfered in our elections. But our elections, because we have the Electoral College, and because we have so many diverse states that have different systems, any one attempt to meddle in our elections is doomed to failure because it is not possible. Obama was correct.
All right, that's kind of where I differ. I mean, you're right, but I don't see that as a thing, really. Yeah, they everybody wants their person to win, right? You know, Russia wanted Hillary to win because they'd just given her $20 million and just had Bill speak in Moscow for
the entire
high six figures, and had
entire world wanted Hillary to win. The entire world was invested in the polls that all said that she was going to win. Billions of dollars were put into the Clinton Foundation and support for Hillary Clinton because they figured that she was going to be the shoo-in. Okay? Mm-hmm. The entire world wanted Hillary to win. It was the American people that gave everybody else the finger and said, no, it's going to be Donald Trump.
We're not talking emotionally invested in Hillary winning. Literal financially invested in Hillary winning. To the tune of billions of dollars. Yeah. But that'd be like saying President Obama interfered with the Israeli elections when he literally went to Israel and stumped for Bibi Netanyahu. I can dig it.
Good.
Thank you. Speaking of, I saw Show Nuff in something the other day, and it just reminded me of The Last Dragon. I was like, oh, I've got to buy that movie. But yeah, it's if my grandfather would have nibbled on my grandmother's fingers at Thanksgiving dinner, that would have been cute and funny because my grandpa would have been a little drunk. However, if my grandfather would have done that at a speech my grandmother was doing, half my family would have slapped him. And I try to look at it as plainly as I can. Intimate setting with everybody you know, cutesy funny. Crowd full of people you don't know? What the fuck are you doing, Joe? And while we do have fake Nancy Pelosi videos going around of her being played at a slower motion to make her look drunk, and possibly, this might be doctored, her using Jedi lightning to kill reporters. I'm not sure if that's doctored or not.
Unlimited power!
Are we sure that was doctored? Those are... They're there to make her look bad, and I don't like those. Unless it's clearly fake, I don't like the not clearly fake ones. Because fake news is a really prevalent thing right now. However, Joe is clearly just going fucking bucknuts crazy. You don't even have to make him clips now of him doing weird shit. It's all happening at once. Now, I can see him having issues with his speech because excuse me, I just burped up Coca-Cola. He's a racist asshole. That can make him question things. Like when he said a few weeks ago, poor people are just as smart as white people. Mm-hmm. Or whatever version of that happened was. Like, holy shit, Joe Biden. Stop it. I'm starting to like you. But, like, when he was fumbling, like, 4 or 5 attempts to come up with blonde hair on his legs, that was probably just him not having a politically correct term for... Like, he was trying to think of the best way to say what he was going to say because he probably thought what he was going to say was racist. And he was attempting to catch himself. Like, do I say white hair? No, because it's not really white. Yellow? Blonde? Okay, blonde works. And then he finally got to it. But, yeah, I like when sick kids sit on my lap. That's just weird on, like, 6 different levels. I can't stand hugging children because they bury their face in my crotch. It's just weird. And to be like, yes, I like when kids sit on my lap. No. Kids are sticky and gross. And those are just nephews and nieces. Those are people I actually love, and I still don't want them sitting on my lap. Let alone random kids.
Yep. No, he's just a creepy old man. What bugs me is, and I was thinking about this the last week or so. I was like, he is the Democratic front runner, and he is obviously unfit for postman, let alone anything else. He's completely out of touch. He has no clue what's going on. The only reason he's running is to protect himself from the investigations that are going on in the Ukraine about him and his son and his own quid pro quo, which he has bragged about, let alone admitted to. How is this
bragged about?
Yeah. How is this guy the front runner? And the only conclusion I can come up with is that he is the front runner because all of the rest of the herd of Democratic candidates sucks even worse.
See, there's like a fundamental difference between what the right wants as a politician, like as their president, and what the left wants as their president. The left kind of, in my view, wants somebody who would take care of their kids. Like, they want somebody who would be like a nanny, who would make sure the kids had everything they needed from cradle to grave. And I don't want any politician on that side near my children. To be fair, I don't want any politician on my side near children either. I think Trump would not do well raising my child. I worry about his own children. They're kind of
well. I mean, his kids ended up more or less okay. I mean, the older ones did anyway. But yeah, I mean, he's not the one doing the raising. Let's not,
yeah.
Let's not fake the funk
but
there.
I don't want someone taking care. I want someone leaving me the hell alone, taking care of the financial stuff, the security stuff. That guy doesn't need to be my babysitter, raise my children. I don't want to have a beer with my president. I don't want my president to be a good guy. I want my president to be focused on America, working their ass off to make my life better, and leaving me the hell alone. Like this ban porn thing that has been going around the last couple of days on the Twitter. I don't believe porn is speech, because I can't masturbate in my front yard, and that should be the same speech as pornography. If it's free speech, it shouldn't be regulated, but yet you have to be 18 to watch porn. It's not speech. I don't want the government shutting down pornography. I want the people to be leaving pornography. Porn's awful. It's disgusting. There's no two ways around it. It's not liberating. You filming yourself having sex with your wife, wonderful for you, but it's gross. Sex is icky and sticky and faces and crotches. And for some reason, in pornography, there's a bunch of spitting that's just weird to me. But it's not an independent thing. These girls are treated like shit. They go to interviews where they're supposed to, they talk it out, and they're like, yeah, we're doing a oral scene and a vaginal scene, and then it'll end in facial. They get to the set and they find out, oh, it's a vaginal anal day. And the girl's like, I didn't prepare for anal. I can't do anal today. They're like, you'll do it or we'll get somebody else. That's just how that works, because the managers for the girls understand that the girl's lifespan in porn, 3 years. The manager's lifespan in porn, their entire careers. So they're more loyal to the program or to the distribution company, the production people, than they are the actresses themselves. And they don't give a fuck about them. And the same with the guys. The only investment in porn is the STD test. And it's not something even remotely safe for anybody to be doing. And it does hurt the relationship of people. Kids nowadays can get porn at such a young age, and we have freaking police departments acting like absolute jackasses and like they're in movies. Let alone how it ruins intimacy between people. Kids nowadays will never discover Porn Hedge, which is a pornographic magazine found in the hedge of somebody's lawn. Drying it out.
It was a rite of passage for people in my age group to have to search out their dad's, Playboys. And now kids can just go immediately to worse than Hustler.
Mm-hmm.
And Hustler was the worst of the porn magazines.
Yeah, by a lot.
It showed penetration.
Yeah. But it's one of those things that I don't agree with banning porn, especially not on a governmental level, because prohibition doesn't work. Number one, it just creates a black market, which the market is already, for that sort of thing, is already gray. So, yeah, the proposal to ban porn is like, well, how do you enforce that? Because unless you make it a societal thing that just rejects it, it's just, you're only going to make it taboo, and you're only going to, increase its appeal.
I want my porn a bit taboo. Not the pornography taboo, because I am absolutely disgusted with most of the porn out there, because everything's all stepsister this and father-in-law's weird shit. like that. And I enjoy the community of pornography, but the people involved are wackadoodles. Who doesn't enjoy the idea of free love and whatnot? It's just the execution is shameful.
Well, and then let's take a look at societies where porn is in fact banned or hard to come by. How well are those societies doing?
Well, to be fair, the divorce rate is much smaller in those societies.
Right, but how are the actual social lives of the people involved? Are the women oppressed, or are they free? Are they fulfilled? Are the men doing okay? And what about the men that would be incels in our society? Are they doing all right? Or are they still just as fucked up as everybody else?
The closest I can think of to a first world that has limitations on porn is Russia. Russia is anti-porn. And Russia is full of beautiful women.
Only
and strip clubs are allowed there. Oh.
They're like bananas, man. Once they go, they go. Avocados and bananas. They're ripe for about...
I was thinking avocados myself.
Yeah, about 3 minutes, and then they go bad fast.
Not like those precious Asians. Those Asians could look good for 20, 30 years until one day. I've never seen an Asian girl going to seed. I've seen incredibly hot Asian girls and their grandmothers. That's it. So that shit must have a Russian fast turnaround. But it could last 30 years. A strong marketing plan to make porn a boomer thing might work on the Zoomers. Yeah, I enjoy nudity. Not my own, because I have a hairy butt, but other people's nudity. Female kind. I like to see cleavage. I like to see boobies. I enjoy the naked female form. Except when it's people that want to be naked. Because most of those people, I don't want to see naked.
Yeah, if you ever want to be dissuaded from the debauchery, just visit a swingers club and realize that pretty people don't do that shit.
Yeah. I had a friend once who said, girls don't share good dick. So if you are somebody who enjoys threesomes, you are not somebody who is remotely good at sex. Because they don't share good dick. I had a threesome once, but that was because I included my other hand.
Jesus.
Sinatra my buddy Matt Sinatra did a video on that chick with the 4 betas or the 2 betas and the whatever is below beta. And he was arguing that it was a 5-way relationship. And I tried to explain him in freaking comment section. It's a 4-way relationship because she is dating 4 men. It's not them. For them, they're dating her, but she's dating the 4 of them. It's 4-way, not 5-way. Because you can't include the starting point.
Well, then how is it a 3-way?
That's why a threesome's wrong. Well, all right. It's not a 5-way stop. You don't include the car. It's a 4-way stop. Because the directions at the stop. It's 4 different guys and her. She's the car. She can turn right, turn left, turn around, or go forward. It's 4-way, not a 5-way. I also left that same comment. I left.
The thing that gets me about
I think
that is that's normal, or becoming more normal for the younger generations. For spazzed out, weak ass, nominally males having to share a substandard fat slob.
Well, all the good ones are going to college and don't want anything to do with us. So what do?
I wouldn't go with all the good ones.
Yeah. Jerk off until your stock rises, dude.
That's a long
yeah,
ways away.
I was
and
pretty disappointed in the house they were
in. And you have to understand how antsy some of these young guys will get for not having, satisfaction of some sort. I mean, you can only be alone for so long before things start to manifest.
Porn is better than sharing that fat ham beast
with
other dudes.
I am not disagreeing. You are exactly right. However, what I am saying is that this encouragement of women to shun off men, to shun off families, to shun off relationships, and be, these independent, career-driven drones, which is what men used to do so women wouldn't have to do it. It's how it's destroying the whole fabric of this.
Well, they're not told to do that. They're literally told that you can do anything. You can do, not only can you do anything, you can do everything.
No. They are told that, but they are also told if you don't do, if you don't pursue careers, you are going to be looked down upon. That is a perception that is being pushed.
That's true. It does take a strong, independent woman to actually be a strong, independent woman and say, no, I kind of like to have and raise children and be with a man. You're right. That has become an inverse reality that and is blissfully ironic in the fact that it does take a strong, independent woman to be what everybody says isn't a strong, independent woman.
Right.
But for the guys of that age, their only function is they're trying to jump the gun. They're expecting to be given something or to have something available to them that they have yet to earn. And that's probably because we have a hypersexualized society and that's what's expected early on. Plus, women's stock, the guys who are of an age like 18 to 25, their peers in the women that are their peers are at the height of their stock value because they are prime breeding years, prime marriage years, child rearing years, everything, all that. Plus, they look fantastic. Look, smell, and taste fantastic at that age. However,
yeah, they do.
Okay, well, I was kind of talking with Josh about this, about dating younger. Like one of the chicks I was talking to was 22, and the thing that he brings up is, well, they're still flirty, they're still playing the game, and dude, I'm 30 years old. I don't want to be playing fucking games. That's over and done. That time has passed as far as I'm concerned. If that's what you want to do, I'm not interested.
Well, that's just it. You need to date older women.
Okay, but then then I'm trading down stock again. It's a frustrating place to be, is all I'm saying.
Right, but okay, I firmly believe that no dude in his right mind should get married before they're 30. Probably not before they're 35. Because
I disagree.
Because, and I'll tell you why. Because everybody that I know, with the exception of one exception of all the people I knew in high school who got married in their 20s, every single one of them has gone through a divorce by the time they hit 40.
Well, that's just a thing of, we have to discourage divorce and you have to understand what it is you're getting into.
Do you know the main reason for that change? That all of these people got divorced.
They changed as they got older?
Yes, people change as they get older. That's a fact. But in the vast majority of these cases, there was two that where the guy cheated and it ended up poorly. But the vast majority of them is the woman in the relationship got bored, got complacent with her guy, thought she could do better, and decided to end it. It wasn't the guy's choice. It was the woman's choice to end these relationships.
That's where we need to get back into reinforcing the idea of marriage is for life. Once you marry somebody, forget about the grass is greener on the other side bullshit. Worry about fixing what you have.
And that only works if you've married somebody you want to have children with. You don't marry someone and plan to have children 5 years later.
Right.
You need to have an investment that keeps you together. It was far too easy for my wife and I to say, you know what, I am sick of your shit. We can split it here. Because that's what we ended up doing. Who would have thought I'm not a keeper? News to me.
Okay, well, again, we go back to this thing. I don't know where it started, this erosion of the idea of marriage being for life, but it is one of the many, many things that are making this society crumble.
Marriage for life?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you know what did that in is people's lives being extended for so long. Back in the 1800s, when that was the concept, well, prior to that even, people only didn't typically live very long. So you could be rest assured that while you were married to somebody, one of the two of you were going to die at a relatively early age, the other wouldn't, and there would be release or freedom on the other end.
Literally, you married and moved into one of your family homes where your family then died around you.
Yes.
And you eventually got to home. You didn't travel more than 15 miles from your home in your entire life.
You mean you accepted the burden of everything that had been built between the two of you?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it.
Because you had bigger problems, like living.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It's only the ease in which we find ourselves that leads to these grass is greener issues. We're not invested in each other like we used to be. Because we don't have
For instance, my grandma was pretty. And she decided not to go to college, which meant she wasn't marrying a doctor. She was going to marry an architect or something else. She didn't want to. She wanted to marry for love. So she didn't go to college to get her husband. Because there are a lot of girls who simply got degrees to marry better. Like, they would get out of college and marry and become a housewife.
Yeah, they went to college to get their MRS degree.
Yeah.
That was a thing even
now
back when
it's nurses. Mm-hmm. You go to nursing school to marry a doctor nowadays. But now they're fully invested in having careers. Which I'm fine with. I'm not marrying you. So you go ahead and have your career.
I had this discussion with my sister during Thanksgiving. And she pissed me right the fuck off because I tried to explain to her why it is I think it's a bad idea to go to college. And not because it's bad to get educated. That's always a good thing. I always encourage anybody, I don't care who you are, your race, your religion, your sex, it doesn't matter. Getting an education is always a good thing. The two problems I have is that you saddle yourself with a shit ton of debt and you want to pay it off yourself. So you have to get a career once you're done with it. To me, as as a man who would seek a woman, I don't mind taking on the debt if I think you're worth it and we are going to live, the rest of our lives in marriage and have family and all that other good shit. I don't care. At that point, I'll cover it. That being said, I don't think it's a good idea to bring on that baggage if you don't have to. And we shouldn't encourage women to bring on that debt and to try and pay it off themselves in a career and forego family, at least for a while. And the thing that she said that pissed me off, well, you're looking to get somebody that you want to turn your wife into barefoot and pregnant, and I just wanted to knock her the fuck out.
Well, that's just it. I mean, girls are told that they're worth more than being mothers, which is true, but it's not in the way that
is that true?
That it's taught to them.
We'll say it's
is there something more worthy than being a mother?
Okay.
According to second and third wave feminism, yes.
Well, yeah, I think they're partially wrong. I think it is the most happiness and most fulfillment you'll ever get is being a mother. However, it is not the only way to get fulfillment. Which is like, fine, sure. If you think you're better off being a career woman, if you think you're Ann Coulter, go for it. I don't think that's the majority of women, though.
Yeah, when I think of happy careers, I think of Ann Coulter.
Mm-hmm.
Rachel Maddow.
Yeah, happy people.
Samantha Bee.
Ugh, stop.
She is a mother.
Making it worse.
Well, so is Hillary Clinton, technically, but let's get real.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there's a whole
lot
of
Michelle
shit
Obama
upstairs with
I'm
her.
happy for him.
You mean Michael?
Yeah. Not sure how that worked, but okay.
Inappropriate.
I read somewhere, I don't know where it was, there was a tweet from Breitbart that said even Michelle Obama was confused by the impeachment.
You know, when I think of brilliant thinkers, I think of Michelle Obama.
Well, again, why is it for, wait a minute, okay, wait. It's a credential for women who were married to previous presidents to become president, right? That's like a feather in their cap that they were married to the dude that was in the office. Therefore, that's a credential for them, right?
Right.
Okay. Isn't that like the most sexist thing?
Melania.
Well, she's
not eligible. I totally want Melania running a Fortune 500 company because she's married to a billionaire who made his mark in real estate.
Mm-hmm.
You realize that chick who made fun of Barron Trump literally crossed the street to not walk on the same side as the Trump hotel?
Yeah, she's a lunatic. She's a stark raving lunatic. And that was kind of shown.
Another guy said... Go on.
I said that was shown during... This is what kills me, is the Democrats are playing this game knowing full well that the people who pay attention, they're not trying to fool them. They're only trying to fool the people that don't pay attention. Because anybody who watched her testimony and her getting basically shelled from the Republican side of the bench knows that she's worthless, less than worthless. She's got no bearing. But anybody who doesn't watch that, who doesn't pay that level of attention to it, the press and the Democrats can literally say whatever they want, and they just suck it up and believe it. So that's why they keep doing it. It's because they know full well that the average American who's going to pull the lever in next November isn't going to pay attention to this shit.
I agree.
I mean, Matt Gaetz lit up one of the guys they had up there today. Apparently, this guy Daniel Goldman,
Oh,
is the House Intelligence Democrat Council. So I'm not sure what that position is, but he's obviously a partisan hack. Gets called on the carpet for being a partisan hack, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, this is normal. This is fine. He's still legit." He's only been working there for like less than this year, and yet he's somehow the key witness here today. I don't know. I'm just frustrated with the levels of nonsense.
Yeah. He was trending earlier today, and I didn't get to see what that was about.
Who?
Matt Gaetz.
Oh, he lit this guy up. It's worth watching.
No, it was like they were calling him an ass or something. Like Matt Gaetz is a jerk or something like that was what the hashtag was.
Yeah, he was very jerkish about it. But again, this guy had it coming. He's out there pretending to be something he's not, denying that he is what he is. And Gaetz is like, yeah, you just want to fess up to it. He's like, no, I'm good. Not gonna comment. Not gonna do anything. Just gonna play this game and dance this fake dance. And Gaetz was like, look, I'm fucking tired of it. Same with Owen Troyer. Did the same thing this morning.
I saw him get escorted out of the from the seating area because he called out Jerry Nadler.
Yeah, screaming from the back of the room. And Nadler's a piece of shit. But Gaetz put up this tweet from this guy from like 2 years ago that said, what lying? Nothing in the dossier has proved to be false, including your P-tape. But we can agree that look forward to the facts coming out, even though that has come out so far have shown you to be an out-and-out liar, i.e. Cohen tape purchased June 9th, meaning, etc. And that was a tweet that he tweeted at Trump. Yet Matt Gaetz was like, oh, nothing proved to be false? And he listed off like 6 things that were proven false. And he's like, do you want to retract that tweet? And the guy just sat there, dumbfounded, just wouldn't disavow his own tweet, wouldn't admit that he was wrong. There
was that one one of those 3 professors from the other week. He said he wasn't a believer in the impeachment until the transcripts came out. And then there was like 3 articles just circulating like months earlier than that coming out, where it was like Trump's tweets alone are grounds for impeachment. Like, oh, you were an impeachment fan, huh? You weren't a big fan of the old impeachment?
It's just the hypocrisy is just disgusting to me. And they're literally out to save their own skin. I, for a second, do not believe that this impeachment is being rushed forward and being put front and center in the news because Bill Barr has actually started laying out indictments. And the reports coming out for like the IG report on the FISA hearings for Trump and the wiretap, those came out this week as well. And they're not getting any level of scrutiny in the press.
That was another one. Impeach Barr was trending earlier.
Right. And it's because he's getting dangerously close to the truth of doing the actual investigations that need. Now, I still think that this needs to end up with Hillary behind bars, Page and Strzok and Comey all behind bars, preferably beat with an inch of their lives. Regularly, like daily. That needs to happen.
Suck it up, guys. Yeah, let's see what they got for the impeach bar. Why is this taking so long? Impeach bar. It's to the point now where I don't believe, like, just because you say "we the people" in your headline, I don't particularly believe you anymore. Of course, AG Barr has made it clear that he will betray his oath of office, whatever necessary, to defend the real Donald Trump from prosecution for the crimes he knows he committed. Hashtag impeach Barr. Hashtag disbar Barr. Disbar Barr.
Disbar Bar. Bar the elephant? But okay, so the thing that gets me about that is like, oh yeah, he's totally committed crimes. Really? Yeah, he's guilty.
Name them.
Thank you. That's all you have to do to shut him up. Name him. What crime? Name it. I'll wait.
He's locking children in cages. Listen, my bachelor degree is in criminal justice. It's from kind of a decent school. When somebody commits a crime, they are taken from their family. Now, that family is supposed to have a dwelling in which they already live. However, if you are committing a crime with your child present, they are then taken into custody by the state because you are a piece of shit who commits crimes with their child. However, if you're crossing a border with your child, and this is if it's with your child, not just a child, which is so much worse if it's not yours, they're separated. And yeah, a temporary detention center is a fucking cage. Because so many goddamn people are doing it, it had to be expanded beyond an actual facility. Yeah, this kind of shit happens. The same thing would happen if you robbed a bank with your kid in the car. Only it's not happening at such a large scale. You actually go to the facility instead of a temporary housing. But the kid still gets taken from his parents, no matter what. I'm sorry, do you want the kid to go to prison with the parent? Chris Wallace on Fox News on the DOJ IG report. The headline is that they didn't find the thing that Bill Barr and Donald Trump alleged. Let's not mince words. Hashtag Bill or Barr is a hack. Hashtag impeach Barr. Hashtag impeach Trump now.
What they don't realize is that this is setting the stage for Biden. If Biden gets elected, which I doubt he will, but if he does, the very first thing that's going to happen is he is going to be impeached for the quid pro quo he has already bragged about. And he will be impeached.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I like Pence more than Trump. So I'm not particularly losing if we lose Trump.
No, the only problem there is then they'll just have him assassinated and Nancy will be the president.
There's this weird thing going on, and I didn't see it when I was younger, but also, Twitter wasn't around back then, and Facebook wasn't even a thing, where people are now claiming to be conservatives or Republicans, and then also proving how not conservative or Republican, whichever the claim they're making is. And that was just weird to me. Like, I'm sorry, you're claiming to be a fiscally conservative, staunch Republican, but your picture has you in an Abortion Now shirt. And you're saying Trump's a pussy grabber and he needs to be impeached. Like, I don't know who you're trying to convince, Anna Navarro. No one believes you're Republican.
Well, I think she's just saying that so she has, that extra clout to actually be allowed to screech her nonsense on, the press. The press can say, "See, we're fair and balanced. We have this obvious, admitted Republican."
Say something Republican, Anna, quick.
Yeah.
Mention again how your family and you come from a different country.
Well, it's just like George F. Will. George F.
is.
Will isn't a conservative either.
Let's hear more from Bill Kristol.
Yeah, really. But then again, I don't consider Bill O'Reilly a true conservative either.
O'Reilly. There is an investigation into crimes committed by Giuliani and his henchmen while Rudy was working as the president's attorney, making the president a suspect too. And the attorney general is discussing it with the president. That's not how it's supposed to work. Yeah, it kind of is.
No longer pursuing bribery.
Putin puppets Trump, Trump puppets Barr. Cut these fucking strings. We don't just have a lawless president. We have a criminally insane attorney general.
So according to this, the Democrats are filing 2 articles of impeachment against Trump, no longer pursuing the bribery charge. Whatever.
Peter Dow, because that's Peter Dow, Kerry and Clinton advisor. What's a good reason not to impeach Barr? What's a good reason not to impeach Kavanaugh? What's a good reason not to impeach Trump for crimes against humanity at the border? I'm listening. Yeah, no, you know. First, she loses her show over a joke. Now this shit, she's a comedy legend. Deal with it. Hashtag impeach Barr. That's not Roseanne Barr. It's a different Barr. Absolutely ridiculous. What is this? Who is U.S. Attorney John H. Durham?
Thank you. I just got pie, gentlemen.
Oh, what kind of pie?
Pumpkin.
Oh, so your leg's safe.
Hmm?
All right. Anybody got anything else?
No, I don't think so.
All right, then we can eat that pie in off hours.
Sweet.
It shouldn't be too sweet. It's pumpkin. All right, so let's get out of here.
Let me hit the button. Are we out?
Bhutan.
All right. Good night, everybody.
We're out. Good night, everyone. Bye.